How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit temptationstreats.com to learn more.
Welcome to Farm Here Daily, a field-forward podcast. I'm David Geiger, your host. I've been on Iowa TV and radios for the last decade, and I'm very excited that we're starting up this podcast, Farm Here Daily. Today, we will be talking about some of the latest initiatives from the Iowa Beef Industry Council. Kylie Peterson joins us to go over that. We'll also keep up the conversation on planting and crop progress, this time in Southeast Iowa with agronomist Virgil Schmitt. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at Field Forward. We would love to have you join our community, keeping folks in Iowa informed about what is affecting our farmers. And joining us now, we have Kylie Peterson, Director of Communications and Marketing with the Iowa Beef Industry Council. Kylie, thank you so much for joining us on the Farm Here Daily podcast. Glad to have you here. What's been going on with you guys? You guys had that Best Burger contest just wrap up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so we're celebrating May Beef Month in full force right now. And we kicked that off on May 1st with the announcement of Iowa's Best Burger. And so the 16th year we are celebrating. And so the 16th Iowa's Best Burger is Halftime Bar and Grill in Pleasantville.
Halftime Bar and Grill in Pleasantville. How was that experience? What was the reaction to getting that Best Burger, and did you have a good turnout?
Yeah, so Pleasantville, the restaurant in Pleasantville is a smaller town, obviously. So it is a family-owned and family-operated business, and they have a traditional burger lovers burger. So they actually have nearly, I think it's 9 burgers on their menu. And so we kind of tackle this contest in phases. The first phase is consumer vote for the best burger in Iowa. So people can cast their vote for about a month and let us know where you think the best is. Then we narrow it down to the top 10 places with the most votes in the state of Iowa, where they're then visited by a secret panel of judges. And those judges are the ones that choose the burger. And so this year's restaurant, like I said, has several burgers on their menu. And the one that they're kind of featuring as Iowa's best burger is it's just a traditional burger. It has bacon on it. It is an egg, cheese, and then there's several others that just have some delicious toppings as well. So that's what we love so much about burgers and just this contest, is we get to talk about a variety of great toppings and great combinations. But the base of why this contest is great is because of that beef patty.
Iowa's Best Burger is really a great way to display just all the beef usage here in the state, and I know it's super successful. A couple years ago, I remember the amount of burgers sold from the place that won was pretty crazy. What was the most recent one? I believe was in Ankeny. They also had some pretty crazy sales after being awarded Iowa's Best Burger. Is that right?
Yeah, they did, and actually, Halftime Bar and Grill, before they won the contest or before they made it into the top 10, I think they were doing 170 burgers a week. And since being in the top 10 alone, their sales increased by over 100%. So
wow.
That's already just being in the top 10. And yes, JJ's was our winner last year, and they increased their sales by 1,565%.
Wow.
So they are a very small place, and they were just cranking out the burgers. So yes, that is one of the main reasons why we love this, is that we can show an increase in burger sales, and it really changes their business.
And this whole perspective from the Iowa Beef Industry Council is just a way to promote the producers and the farmers that are working here across the state to get good beef out to folks, whether it's here in the state or exporting it out. And could you tell us just a little bit about what you're looking forward to here as we head into May Beef Month and also into the summer grilling season?
Yeah, so that is absolutely what we're all about, is driving demand and sharing all of the great things that beef has to offer from pasture to plate. And so, as I said earlier, it is May Beef Month in Iowa, and it's also Mediterranean Diet Month. And so a big focus is just kind of focusing on wellness as a whole. And we know that beef provides 10 essential nutrients. It builds strong minds and bodies. And there's a lot of great attributes about beef. And so we're focusing on wellness and really leaning into Mediterranean Diet Month in May as well. And so we've been sharing 5 important tips on the radio, on TV, with consumers to let them know that beef can be included in a heart-healthy diet, and it is nutritious and delicious.
Mediterranean month, and talking about that health, I'm just thinking like a delicious Mediterranean bowl myself. I think I might have to make one of those pretty soon here. I feel like that would be delicious. Looking into, as we head further into more of the summertime, are there anything going on that producers ought to be known about because of the work you guys are doing?
Yeah, so a lot of our county cattlemen and a lot of our county groups, our youth beef teams in the state of Iowa, are gearing up and joining us in the celebration of May Beef Month. So a lot of them are doing their own grillings in their communities, just really helping promote beef at the grassroots level. And of course, we're always encouraging folks to reach out to us. We have a variety of giveaway items and resources that they can use when they're promoting beef in those summer grilling cookouts. So you are always welcome to reach out to us via email, beef@iabeef.org, or give us a phone call at 515-296-2305. And something else just to note as you're planning for those activities and events this summer is that we have a county grant. It's kind of a cost share program where if you are promoting beef and using funds to promote beef, and it aligns with our missions and goals, then we can help you facilitate those and fund some of those projects as well. So if that's of interest, or you're looking to just get some new inspiration on how to do something locally as we celebrate May Beef Month and lean into that June steak month, summer grilling season, give us a call.
I'm really interested, just as a follow-up to that last note you make, if you have a good pitch on that, is this a new system in place, or if it's one that's been here for a couple of years, what's some examples that you particularly like that people have brought to you?
Yeah, it is not new. We've been doing it for several years, but honestly, we've been trying to do a more of a concerted effort in helping kind of facilitate new inspiration. I think it's really easy to do a grill out, but we're seeing a lot of counties go above and beyond, whether that is going and doing a outreach at their local grocery store. So they're meeting the consumers where they're at at the meat case, talking to them about how to prepare maybe an underutilized, more economical cut if one of the cuts that you traditionally lean towards is maybe out of your budget. At this point in time, we're seeing a couple counties, I think it was Sioux County just today, kicked off their Beef Up Your Brain campaign. And so they are visiting each of the high schools or middle schools in their community, and they are grilling beef for those students during May Beef Month. So we're seeing some really cool things, as well as like reading in the classroom with kids. So we're trying to just do a better job of sharing what other counties are doing to help inspire others to change it up or get something started in their local area.
One of the programs I think you guys are working on as well is with the Drake Relays. Is that right? What's going on there?
Yeah, so we just finished up a campaign with Drake Relays, their road races and their Grand Blue Mile, where we've been doing this for several years. We are a fueling the pre and post race recovery zone. So we hand out beef jerky to racers, and we talk to them about how beef can be a part of their pre and post workout or physical activity journey. And so we handed out over 4,500 beef jerky sticks at the Grand Blue Mile for the kids race and also the road races during that time, just fueling them up with beef jerky.
Kylie Peterson, Director of Communications and Marketing with the Iowa Beef Industry Council. If folks are interested in knowing more about some of the things you mentioned, I believe you mentioned your website earlier. Could you just tell us that website again?
Yes. So you can visit iabeef.org or beefitswhatsfordinner.com. And then, of course, you can always give us a call, 515-296-2305.
Kylie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We will continue to talk about crop progress on the Farm Here Daily podcast, but we're going to take a look at the Friday market close in the marketplace. May corn up 2.5 cents at $4.41.5. July rising 2.25 at $4.49 3/4. Soybeans in May 7.25 cents more at $10.44, with July rising 6 3/4 at $10.51 3/4. Soybean meal in May down 60 cents a ton at $287.20. May wheat down 7.5 cents at $5.05.5, with July falling 7.5 cents at $5.21 3/4. In the livestock market close for Friday, June live cattle up 42 cents a hundredweight at $214.67, with August falling 42 cents at $209.57. Feeder cattle in May up $0.50 at $297.97, with August down 95 cents at $300.30 a hundredweight. Lean hogs in May down 27 cents a hundredweight at $90.37, with June up 40 cents, $97.57. That is the Friday market close here on the Farm Here Daily podcast. And joining us, we have Virgil Schmitt, Iowa State University Extension agronomist over in the southeastern corner of the state. Virgil, it's good to talk to you again about what's been going on here in the state and planting progress, crop progress. What have you been seeing in your area?
Well, as you indicated, crop progress is going really good. We've got probably 90% of the corn in between highways 30 and 92. You get a little ways north of 30 and a little ways south of Highway 92, and it's a little bit less because they've had a little bit more rainfall there. But this dry streak that we're having here should allow them to catch up and pretty well, I think, finish up the corn this week, and also probably put a big dent, if not finishing up, on the soybeans.
Is that pretty ahead of schedule from your perspective when it comes to planting progress here just after the first week of May?
Right, and I think for corn we're a little bit ahead as I kind of think back here, and I think the good news is for those people who are just finishing up, we don't really lose much yield until we get to the middle of May, and with this warm weather coming up, they should get right back on schedule with as if they'd been planted earlier. The soybeans, a lot of times people would say, well, you kind of target mid-May to get them planted, but there is a lot of data that suggests that the earlier plantings, can do extremely well. In fact, there are people who plant soybeans before they plant corn. And I think with the soybeans, I think we're well ahead of schedule also.
Because there's been a bit of a shift over the last decade or so where that southern part of the state has a little bit better window now for planting.
Yeah, that is accurate. We used to have, and we still do from time to time, have some issues with the southern part of the state just plain being too wet for too long. The soils down there do not dry out very quickly because they are very fine textured, and that provides some challenges for people. But they've been making some progress, as you say. I think one of the things that has happened is a lot of people have put tiling in land that previously we thought, well, those soils are so tight, so to speak, that tiling really wouldn't do much good. And what they're finding is that it can actually do a lot of good in some of those fields.
In terms of crop progress and some early emergence, what tend to be the questions farmers are calling you about right now?
Well, right now it's actually pretty quiet here. I think one of the things that has kind of raised its head just a little bit are some stand issues in corn, some things that perhaps farmers did absolutely correctly, particularly with some of those early plantings before Easter. And then the herbicides went on afterwards, and the soils turned cold and wet. And with that, the seeds or the seedlings weren't able to metabolize the herbicides that have been applied as well as they should have, and that's haunting a few people.
Are you seeing, let's go more into that pest pressure you mentioned. Are you seeing any particular pests showing up in southeast Iowa?
At this point, no. We've got black cutworm moth traps out and true armyworm traps out, and over here it's been fairly quiet. Now I know Logan, who is my counterpart to the southwest, has had more activity than I have, and then you kind of go north from there up into central Iowa, north central Iowa. Those seem to be the areas that are catching most of what's migrating into the state. Over here, it's been fairly quiet. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean people shouldn't be go out and looking, because literally those moths go wherever it is the wind takes them. And so just because they didn't take them to the location of our traps doesn't mean they didn't take them to your field. And so we still should be going out and looking here probably in about another week or so.
That's really interesting because I do know our neighbors to the east are really struggling with cutworm already. They've seen lots and lots of evidence of it. Are there concerns of that migrating to the west?
Well, it won't migrate per se, but that doesn't mean that moths haven't come in at a later date over here. Basically, what happens is the moths don't overwinter here. They fly in from the south, and as they're flying in and they're basically just sailing with the winds, if they find a good place to lay their eggs, then they'll tend to swoop down and lay their eggs there. And so basically the question becomes literally which way does the wind blow? Once the eggs are laid, then they're not going to move. The moths will fly off someplace else after the eggs hatch, and we go through the larval stage, the cutworm stage, and then pupation, and then into an adult.
In terms of weeds, being in the southern part of the state means you also have potentially warmer climates as well. Have you noticed any emergence there?
Yeah, weeds are coming along. In fact, I think one of the concerns that we have with this dry weather coming up is that most of our herbicides require a certain amount of moisture to become active in the soil. And so some of these now that are just being applied now, I think the question becomes, are they going to be active enough to keep the weeds under control, or are the weeds simply going to pop up right through them? And so we need to be, I think, watching very closely to see what is going on there.
Virgil Schmitt joining us right now, agronomist with Iowa State University Extension. A lot of that you were just talking about requires extensive scouting, making sure that you have an eye on your farm. What are the places and resources you can go if you have questions or notice something out of the ordinary?
Well, of course, working for Iowa State University, the first thing I'm going to say is Iowa State University. We have 10 field agronomists scattered around the state. And so if you're not familiar with who the field agronomist is that serves your county, call the county extension office and they will tell you. And those people are very, very good resources. They can get you, soil fertility information, pest management information. And it's not just what we do. There is what's called a North Central crop protection website that gathers information from basically all of the upper Midwest and consolidates that. And so you can see data in a bigger picture and say, okay, is that what's consistent with what's happening in Iowa? And you'd be amazed. It almost always is.
Virgil Schmitt, Iowa State University Extension agronomist in Southeast Iowa. Thank you so much for your time today.
It is always my pleasure.
Well, thank you again for joining us on Farm Here Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Again, in order to keep producing this type of local Iowa content, we would love to have you join our community, so please follow the podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward. Additionally, you can find me on social media at Geiger Reports as well as on TV at WHO TV Channel 13 every day in their morning and noon hour programs. I am your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.